Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, in case you missed the news, Twitch decided to become OnlyFans, and it took them a while to stop it. I had a thought about that.
Party people, how you feeling?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the PapaJugg Podcast. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here laughing because this is the third time I have tried starting this broadcast, and no, like all the software was just no. You're not doing that. You don't get to do that. That doesn't work, and you can't understand. No, it was just no everywhere. So. It looks like we're finally running because look, we have people in chat, so things must be okay. Oh boy, do we got a night. All right. As you all know, we are recording on a Friday night, so I hope all of you have had a wonderful week. For those of you in farther parts of the future, I hope you're enjoying the beginning of a wonderful Saturday. Yeah, we're back in the podcast tonight. This is episode 25. We have hit oh shit, is this a silver milestone? I think 25 is silver. It's a silver. I don't know. It's what old people talk about. Anyway, so this is episode 25 of the PapaJugg Podcast. We've got 5 different topics we're going to be talking about tonight. We are going to be talking about the Twitch TOS fail. That was so bad, and how they didn't know this was coming is just beyond. Maybe they wanted to try. I don't know. Maybe they're like, hey, let's see what we can do with the adult industry. Who knows? But we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the day before in FNTASTIC. We're going to be talking about E3. We're going to be talking about Star Trek. We're going to be talking about Godzilla. We're going to be talking about, oh, look, I can't see any of my layers either. God bless it. Hold on. There. That's what we're going to be talking about. Good Lord help me. Okay. So like I said, E3, Twitch, Godzilla, FNTASTIC, and Star Trek. We're talking about all of those things. I'm going to give you some additional information that you might not have picked up lately regarding all of those things. And it's been an interesting week. So hello to everybody. I know, right? First Discord, now this, right? Okay, Discord's had a rough day too. For those of you who missed that is not included in tonight's show, but about an hour, I don't know, 2 hours before Discord, or 2 hours before we went live for this recording, Discord absolutely shit the bed. Discord just lost its collective mind. Entire servers went offline. They got emptied. People couldn't connect. They disappeared from lists, like subscription lists. It was really, really bad. It didn't last very long. And I said this on X. I posted, I was like, hey, we know Discord's working on it. Everybody be patient. We don't need all the internet freakouts. And they did. They fixed it pretty quick, but yeah, like literally people were just disappearing, and it was like, well, where'd the server go? That was pretty rough. So that's how the night started. And I was like, wow, am I going to be able to do this thing? And then I was like, yeah, I don't really need Discord. There's some data in Discord, but not a ton. And most of it's stored offsite. We're fine. So anyways, but like I said, tonight we do have 5 topics, and we're going to kick it off immediately with our first one, which is FNTASTIC, which is the company that published the game the day before. We talked about this last week. They have decided to not only close their studio, but there was a rumor, and I'm going to dispel it right here up front. There was a rumor that they had changed their name, and that was part of the scam. So they're already starting to hide things. The rumor is not correct. They did not change their name. They originally published the game Wild 8, and it was bought. They stopped working on it years ago, and it got bought by another company, and it still said FNTASTIC on it as the game developer. They're like their Steam listing and all of that. It still said FNTASTIC, and so people were leaving it negative reviews because of the day before. So the company that actually owns the game, they are called 8 Clubs or 8 Club, whatever the hell it's called, whatever, something. 8 something. And anyway, so they were like, no, we're not. We're the company that bought it from them. Like they're not involved. They're out of there. So that was a mess. So that was a rumor. So if you see anybody still posting that on X or whatever, or Reddit, just let them know that's a rumor. It's not correct. It is the studio that owns the game. It is not FNTASTIC because they sold it years ago. So that was that. But otherwise, FNTASTIC, it's not looking real good. Okay, originally when I posted, I was pretty neutral about it. I was just letting everybody know. I posted it in my Discord. I posted it on X. I was just letting people know that they have just announced that they are going to close the studio. And I didn't put any real opinion on it. It was just like, hey, they're announcing this. Here's what's happening. Lots of people very quickly jumped on the idea that this was basically a scam. They had no intention of making the game that they sold. They released a pile of crap and they just took the money and run. It's not looking great, but I'm not sure that that's entirely true either. So what's happened since is that there were according to the most recent data that I got as of, I think, yesterday afternoon, according to that most recent data, what happened was, or what is happening, I shouldn't say what happened. What is happening is that there were approximately 200,000 copies of The Day Before sold. Okay. Of those, as of yesterday, 90,000 refunds had already been issued. There were 90,000 requests for refunds, and those have been issued. So at least, at this point, I think we can safely say at least probably half of the stated number of copies have now been refunded by Steam. Bigger problems. Okay. There are bigger problems here. One, if you got your refund, great. Apparently they're still taking the request. So if you want to get your refund for The Day Before, you can. The bigger issue is that FNTASTIC is basically backed out of everything. They've turned all of the responsibility over to the publishing company, which was it was something. I suddenly forgot the name of the damn company. What was it? Mytona. Sorry. I always want to say Mylanta, but I'm like, no, that's not it. Mytona. They turned everything over to Mytona and they're like, look, you're in charge of it now. Bye. So not a good look. Mytona published a statement that said, as the investor of The Day Before, we would like to provide some updates on the current situation around the game. We are sorry for the fact that the game didn't meet the expectations of the majority of the players. Let's focus on sentence number 2 right there. We are sorry for the fact that the game didn't meet the expectations of the majority of the players. So many problems with this sentence. Let's start with we are sorry for the fact. Don't be sorry for the fact you knew what was happening or you had no idea what was happening with your investment. Which one of those is true? You either gave somebody money and did nothing, or you were aware of this as it was happening. Please define. Number 2, the game didn't meet the expectations. No, the game didn't deliver on its promise. It wasn't like people had unrealistic expectations. The expectations of the player base were based on what your company that you invested in, so you are an owner, so your company lied. This wasn't about somebody being like, man, you said it's an MMO and I'm hoping it's going to be the best MMO ever made. No. You said it was an MMO and it wasn't an MMO. So no, didn't meet the expectations? Bullshit. You gave false expectations. You flat out lied. Of the majority of the players, no. How about of all the players? Nobody liked your game. Nobody thought it was good. Nobody thought it did what you promised. Nobody wants your game. We are sorry for the fact that the game didn't meet the expectations of the majority of the players. That whole sentence is bullshit. Just stop it. Today, we will work with Steam to open up refunds for any players who choose to make a refund. Clearly not written by somebody whose English is their first language. Nope. We are in contact with FNTASTIC regarding the future of the game. That came out on December 11th. That was sort of ground zero, shit hit the fan. Okay? No, you're not. You knew this. You're the investor. You're the publisher. You know what's going on. This whole statement was just whatever. It's a whole thing. So there's that. My link on X is not where, of course not, because X is changing things. I don't know if anybody's noticed this. It happened today. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I just got a comment in chat. The reason that we're talking about this. So when I was typing a YouTube link into X, it was auto-filling the end. It was trying to auto-complete with a watch link instead of a profile link. I was confused. I don't have autocomplete on in my browsers because it's a security hazard, by the way, just FYI for all of you. That means you're being tracked. So, because it has to learn what you're trying to autocomplete. So yeah, like X had this thing where it was trying to fill in a watch link. And I was like, no, weird. So the fact that it's broken, I have no, whatever. That's X. Thank you for letting me know, though. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, and apparently it's not. The answer is no. So anyway, so that is what. If you want your refund, go get your refund. It is available. Steam is issuing them. The game has been delisted from Steam. Oh yeah, this was an interesting thing. So FNTASTIC had posted this, and this, well, it says 12 hours ago, but that's not right. FNTASTIC said, answer to those who ask for a refund. Mytona and we are currently working with Steam to allow refunds for any player who chooses to request one, regardless of game time. So literally, if you've got 20 hours or 50 hours, 100 hours in this game, don't ask me how you'd have it. FNTASTIC receives $0 and will receive nothing from the day before sales. So right now, that is a legal claim that they're making, that they will receive $0 and they will refund any money that has been received by Steam, by Mytona, by whatever. A user on X replies, unbelievable that you guys hyped this game up so much and this is the end result. You guys are an absolute disgrace to the video game industry. Was that comment necessary? No. I mean, did somebody have to share that because like people were clamoring for their opinion? No. FNTASTIC replies, this was our first big experience, period. Shit happens, period. No, not a good look, dude. These two brothers who were running FNTASTIC have handled this pretty much wrong from day one. And I say that as both a gamer and as somebody who is an executive for a long time, 20 plus years in the marketing industry. Everything about what they're doing is wrong. This whole thing is just grossly mismanaged. Legally, I really don't know what some of these options are because as far as I know, the brothers and the company are all in Russia. So legal options are probably limited, if not non-existent at this point. The Russians certainly aren't going to give a shit. Like the government's going to be like, we don't care. You got a problem with it? Suck eggs. What the hell do we give a shit? So I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty bad. And then let's see. Yeah. And then also they eliminated their website, removed their YouTube channel. The founders deleted their Twitch profile or their Twitter profile, their X profiles. So this is just all bad. All of it. Was this a scam? Who knows? Are they going to make any money off of this? Who knows? Because at this point, obviously, if the refunds are being issued, the money's coming from somewhere. So I don't know how much money they took. And there are now rampant stories about how some of the game devs were just volunteering their time. So if they weren't getting paid, like they didn't do a pre-sale or anything. So where would the money have come from? I haven't figured out a scam angle on this because I'm not sure how much money they would have walked away with. And secondly, this is obviously not helping their reputation. How these guys are going to do anything in the next 2 years in the world of gaming is going to be a mystery. Beyond that, people have a short-term memory problem, or long-term memory problem, so who knows? But anyways, yeah, so that is what's going on with the world of FNTASTIC. And the day before, pretty much all of it's bad, except for the refunds. You guys can't get refunds. But other than that, yeah, kind of a whole lot of cautionary tales for game devs. Don't repeat these mistakes. That's all I can tell you. Let's move on to the world of Star Trek. This is where my friend Chappie gets really, really excited. So currently on screen, there's a picture of Michelle Yeoh. If you're not familiar with her in the world of Star Trek, she played Emperor Philip. Oh my God, is it Emperor Philippa? Yeah, she played the Emperor in Discovery. And the fans loved her character so much that there was a lot of rampant speculation that there was going to be a spin-off series. That would have been cool. Turns out, no. Paramount has made the announcement that there will not be a spin-off series for Michelle Yeoh, for her character, or even that whole like storyline from Discovery. There will not be a spin-off series. There's going to be a movie. They're making a movie about it. They're going to do a new Star Trek movie. And for the first time, if you guys aren't Trekkies, sorry, stick around because all you're going to hear about is Star Trek right now. This is going to be the first time a Star Trek movie focuses on a single character instead of a crew. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, you got to imagine. To put this in context, the first thing I thought about when I thought, wow, what does this mean? What is this for Star Trek? Okay. I want you to imagine that you are George Takei. You were that first cast Asian character that was for the most part. I mean, it certainly wasn't the first Asian person on television, but for the most part, broke a lot of the barriers for Asian lead characters on television. And now Star Trek is going to do their very first non-crew focused movie, and it's an Asian character. It's not a white captain. That's pretty cool. That says a lot about like Gene Roddenberry's vision. His vision was always about the future being better, the future being inclusive, the future being diverse, the future being a melting pot of people and ideas and cultures and all of these things. That was Roddenberry's thing. He wanted that. He believed in that. He created that world. And the first non-crew, single point of focus person is going to be an Asian and a woman. It's not a white male captain. Now, she is high ranking, but not a white male captain. That's pretty cool. I'm like stoked. Okay. I think this is amazing. Great character from Discovery. Obviously, Michelle Yeoh is a fantastic actor on her own right. So she could have played a trash bag and it would have been amazing. Who cares? But I think that is an amazing step forward. Recording. My God. Production is going to begin next month. So Star Trek is going to be starting production on this next month. We have no idea what a release date is. No script details have been announced. No cast details have been announced other than Michelle Yeoh. This is going to be pretty amazing. So sorry, there was a comment in chat that caught my attention. So I'm very, very excited about this. I think this is a great thing for acting. I think this is a great thing for Star Trek. I think this is a great thing for sci-fi. The funny thing was I watched all of I don't know if you guys did the same thing, but I was watching all of these Star Trek ads that were coming out. It was about, I want to say they started in the first half of 2023 where it had, Michelle Yeoh and some of her castmates, and they were doing, I think it was Star Trek Online or something like that. But they had all these like other tie-ins. I think they had like a DoorDash or whatever it was. And I was like, oh my God, these ads are so corny. They're just so they're fun, like they're Star Trek funny, but that's never been the funniest thing. Like Star Trek humor is unique. All right. Let's just say what it is. I think that, so I was watching those, but still it was like, wow, that's Michelle Yeoh. That's pretty cool. Like I've always thought she's really great at her craft. So anyways, I'm just very excited about this. I wanted to share this with you guys. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. The Oscar-winning actress is returning for a new film based on her vaguely villainous character from Star Trek. Oh, that's the other part. So this whole thing, like I said, there will not be a spin-off series about the Section 31 because it's going into the movie. This is going to be a movie about her involvement with Section 31. So the thing that we really kind of first heard about in Deep Space Nine with the Doctor and Garrick and the Doctor and O'Brien, when they became aware of Section 31 and all the terrible things that Section 31 had done, we're getting a whole movie with that dark plot line. I think that it could be. Star Trek has a way of screwing up scripts if they can, but for the most part, they're pretty good. So it's all going to be Section 31. That's going to be the entire plot of this thing. So very, very excited about that. It's got her at the helm of this thing. Not the helm. Sorry. She's not the director. But she is going to be leading the cast. So that's going to be pretty impressive. So I'm like super, super stoked about this. I hope you guys are too. I think most, and if anybody in chat wants to correct me on this, feel free. I think most sci-fi fans are Star Trek fans. I know not all of them are. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that most sci-fi fans are Star Trek fans because it's hard to appreciate where sci-fi has come from and where it is going and all without understanding Star Trek's contribution to that. I think if you recognize history, if you have respect for the origin of something, you have to at least recognize where Star Trek fits in the evolution of creating a culture around sci-fi, creating a culture around space exploration, of creating a culture around technological innovation. Star Trek laid so much of that foundation way back in the 60s, the 1960s. Like, that's a thing, right? Blood Tide is wrong. So I just think that this is going to be great. I hope it is. I mean, certainly with her, it's going to be hard to screw it up. I'm really curious about directors. I'm really curious about plot. This is going to be a fascinating departure from where Discovery might have taken things. So very, very excited about that. Cool. I hope you all too. Feel free to leave comments down in the description. And by the way, if you get any details about this that I haven't talked about yet, please drop them in the comments. We would love to stay up to date on this story in case I miss an article or something. Before we move on to E3, we're going to be talking about E3 next. I do want to thank our Diamond Discord subs. We always love our Diamond Discord subs. So thank you very much to Captain Havoc, Mazda217, Hayden, and I'm Caffeine Fiend. Your support of this community is very much appreciated. I also want to thank, I think I'm going to start doing this on a regular now. But I want to thank our tier 3 Twitch subs as well. Obviously, they are making a significant contribution to this community. So I want to thank Zombie, I want to thank Reese, and I want to thank I Am the Ancient. Your tier 3 subs on Twitch are very much appreciated. So thank you for what you do for our community as well. Let's talk about E3. E3 is done. That's it. 20 plus years of leading the industry in announcements and convention, game studio, just bringing everybody together. They have announced that they are finished. It was pretty sad. So I've got one article here. This is from Fast Company. E3's demise marks the end of an era for the video game industry. For decades, E3 was where big games made their splash and new consoles were born, but it failed to evolve. And that's the big problem. It failed to evolve. All the platforms created their own conventions. I mean, if they're all going to do their own thing, they have no reason to show up to yours anymore. That's the biggest issue, is for everything that I've seen about it, everything that I know about it, everything that I've seen about E3, which I never even went to an E3. I would have loved to have gone. They were great. Never went. But, the Electronic Entertainment Expo is no longer. So what does this mean? I mean, I would really be curious about your opinions, because I do think it's nice. How do I put this? On one hand, I think it's good for the studios and for the gaming platforms and all of that. I think for them to have their own voice under their own control is a good thing. On the other hand, I think for the industry as a whole, I think having an E3 type event is very, very helpful. It allows, it allows people to come together from different companies. I'm not going to say it forces the issue, but it opens those opportunities for people to show up and network and have some interesting conversations, and for communities to come together. But now, like, if you're a Nintendo fan, you just go to the Nintendo show. If you're an Xbox fan, you just go to the Xbox show. If you're a PlayStation fan, like, you're not getting exposed to anything else. Now, there are things like TwitchCon. There are things like Comic-Con, whatever. There's all these other things. But this was specific. video game stuff. Let's bring the video game community together without some other pretense. And now that's basically gone. So it was that place where even, like I said, I've never been to one, but it was still a place that led the industry and was something that the entire industry looked forward to until they all made their own shows. And now we have to rely on things like, the Game Awards. And, it's like, okay, the Game Awards aren't about the industry coming together. The Game Awards are about handing out awards. It's different. It's not the showcase that E3 was. So I'm not thrilled with that. But this came out Tuesday morning. Let's see. Oh, this is a great description. I saw this on another article. E3 was a loud, raucous carnival where everything competed for your attention and the sound of games was cacophonous. Started in 1995, it was where big games made their splash. It was where new consoles were born, and it was where the industry came together. See, industry came together in an often overhyped but still seemingly essential event. It was. Even if you never watched it, even if you never went to it, even if you never cared about it, it still shaped the industry for the year. It was still a place for the industry to kind of, I'm not going to say unify. I mean, obviously nobody was like, hey, let's collaborate, but it at least opened some doors. It had lines of communication. You got to share stuff with people that were fans of a different platform or a different game, or you got to see things that you wouldn't have seen because it was on a different platform. It was a good thing. Now it's gone. Now we have to watch like 9 different shows a year to get all the news. Yuck. Just not thrilled, but whatever. Is what it is. Sad to see it. Will there be something like E3 in the future? Maybe. But I think the interesting thing would be one of the things that might prompt it. And this is, you can call this a prediction if you want. Something that could stimulate the industry to create another E3 type event is if there's really hard economic times for the studios, they might not want to spend all of the money on their own show. They might realize, kind of like the streaming services are doing now, that there is some efficiencies at scale when they combine forces. And they might say, hey, what if we put together, like a big show and we're all like in the same place? And all the E3 guys are going to be like, oh, you mean like what we did for 20 years? Fuck off. So there's that. But the studios might do it for economic reasons. They might realize that instead of paying for an entire show for 3 days, maybe they only want to pay for 3 hours. So they might do something like that. We'll have to wait and see. I think that's the thing. So we'll see what happens to E3. But yes, E3 did finally announce on Tuesday, December 12th, that they will no longer be returning. They will no longer be operating. E3 as an entity is dead. Sad to see it. Let's move on to Godzilla. This movie, okay, I don't know, but has anybody in chat, I would love to know, has anybody in chat seen Godzilla Minus One? I had some friends who were losing their effing minds over it. They're like, oh my God, I want to go see this movie. Because this is not the typical Hollywood movie. This is the Japanese version. This is the 33rd entry in the Godzilla franchise. But I had some friends who were super stoked about this movie coming out, and I couldn't really figure out why. I'm like, we've had a bunch of Godzilla stuff lately. Like, is there a Godzilla burnout? But no, this one's different because it is Japanese. It does follow more of the canon, all of that. So here's the thing. This movie, apparently, what prompted me to talk about it tonight was this. The movie has made way more money than people expected. Because guess what? It's not in English. There's not even an English dub for it. You're reading a Godzilla movie with subtitles. This is like back in the 50s. This is a classic Japanese Godzilla movie. What I didn't know, because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, that looks like a pretty good Godzilla. Okay, cool, great. They made this whole thing for less than $15 million. I could not figure that out. I was like, no, that's just the CGI budget, right? No, they made the whole flick for under I think it was the director, because the director is also the writer who's also the visual effects director. Like busy guy. But yeah, basically he made a joke, I think in one media, he said, I wish we had $15 million. So there's some discrepancies about was it 15 or less than 15, but even if we cap it at 15 and we say you had all 15 million, it's made almost $60 million. And it still hasn't released in the UK or Ireland. It only just came out in the US. It's been in Japan for a month and a half now. In Japan, it came out like November 1st or 4th or something. I could look up details. But yeah, it has absolutely been crushing it. And I did not realize that it was so great. Because I was like, wow, $60 million, that's not good. Like, you need to be cracking the 100 million. No, they made it for $15 million. Woo! They've made their money back and then some. The cool thing is the director, when he made all of these decisions, he says he loves all the Godzilla stuff, but for all the 32 versions that he had seen before this, his thing was the first one. He said, I still love the magic. What did I think he said the magic? He called it something like that. Oh no, did I get rid of the quote from the director? Oh man. Okay, well, anyways, he said something along the lines of, he loved the magic of the first Godzilla. He wanted it to be about the creature. He wanted it to be about post-war Japan. He was he talked about this a lot. He was very kind of infatuated with the ideas of post-war Japan. Everybody is sort of, I mean, for lack of a better term, everybody is basically shell-shocked. They are going through post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't know what to do with their culture. They don't know what to do with their government. They don't know what to do with their country. Japan was in very, very rough psychological shape. And he was very interested as a director in pursuing what was that like culturally. And as a Japanese person, that's certainly ingrained in, that is very much a part of Japanese culture today, is World War II and after World War II. How did their culture change? How has it evolved into where it is today? So he talked about that, and he said he wanted to show that in the movie. He wanted to show sort of the strength of the Japanese, because they did, obviously, they bounced back from all of the destruction of World War II. And, sort of what did that mean for the Japanese? And so that's why there is a strong, resilient male lead character that is, he's found his purpose. He's found a way to defend Japan. So I loved the way that the director approached it. But again, what brought this to my attention was that it's made almost $60 million, and people were saying that it's like shattering records. I'm like, not shattering a record. How is that shattering a record? And then I did the digging. $15 million budget. Not a word of it is in English. You have to read subtitles for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was. I think that's pretty impressive. I think that's great. So I watched I think there was a second trailer. I went back and watched that one. I don't think there was a third. I'm trying to remember, did I see a third one or just the two? And then I was looking at like the differences of the Godzillas and how they portray the atomic result. Like, what is that nuclear effect that it had on the monster himself? And the way that it was handled in this movie was pretty cool. So I would recommend it. I'm actually interested in seeing it now. I'm typically not a kaiju kind of interested person. I couldn't care less about the giant monsters. I've never seen like any of the Godzilla and Kong movies. I've never seen a Godzilla movie. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I see not just the cultural significance of it, but I see how it's evolved over time. And I think that's interesting. So I think I'm going to go watch Godzilla. My son might enjoy it. He loves Japanese culture. We're actually hoping to take a family vacation to Japan, but I think he might like this video too. Could be good stuff. So hopefully you guys check it out. Sounds like it's worth whatever ticket prices are now. I think ticket prices are now $400 a ticket. I don't know, whatever. It seems to be a lot. So let's move on from Godzilla to tonight's big chat. Tonight we are talking about Twitch, their terms of service, and how they quickly became an OnlyFans site for about a day and a half. If you haven't caught up on what the hell's happening, Twitch decided, so there was a new meta, okay? Let me give some background on this. One person, really one person. One person is getting blamed for this, and apparently that's not fair. So She is a streamer. Her name is Morgpie, I think. Yeah, Morgpie. For some reason, I thought I left a vowel out of that. She is being blamed for starting this trend. She has set the record straight and said that she was copying, I think it was Asian Bunny, right? Where did it go? No. Where did it go? Yeah, Asian Bunny. Yeah, she was copying Asian Bunny. The meta was this. Basically, a well-endowed female streamer seemed to be streaming topless, but the camera view would stop at the bottom. So the bottom of the camera angle would stop just above basically the areola of the breasts. You never saw, I was going to say you never saw nipple, but that wasn't really the point. They looked obviously topless. Okay. Trust me, the milkshakes brought all the boys to the yard. That's what happened. View counts went insane. Every guy tuned into this because guys are dumb. Every guy was tuning into this. And when Morgpie did it, it was like shattering. This is what broke through in the meta. Like everybody's like, cool, I'm doing that now. So you had all the girls that were doing it. So there was that. And it didn't violate Twitch terms of service. If you read the terms of service, she wasn't breaking the rules. But it was that clear, we're going to push the rules as far as we possibly can until they break. And then we're not going to go that far, but we're going to get close. So Twitch did this thing. Twitch was like, wow, there's a meta, there's a problem because now it's basically adult content. And it's not. So Twitch says, okay, we are going to change our terms of service. What is happening is not breaking the rules, but we need to clarify the rules because they're not clear now. So they created these new terms of service that allowed for female presenting breasts. And you could do it in art. You could do it in basically artistic nudity is what they called it. Obviously, so clearly, obviously, what would happen is that everybody would turn porn into art. So if you go into the art it's not there anymore. If you went into the art category on Twitch, you saw a whole lot of, especially VTubers, but you saw a whole lot of breasts and penises and vaginas and asses because they were all being drawn. Everybody was like, I can draw it? Okay. And so like it was hentai world. It was insane. Twitch had a rule though. Twitch said you can do artistic nudity as long as you properly do a category label on your stream, or classification label on your stream. So what you have to do is you have to specify that there will be nudity in your stream because people need to get that warning when it pops up when they go to your channel. And so they need to get that warning. You need to clearly and clearly label this. If you don't, that's a violation of the terms. We don't care how you're making the art or not making art. You can't do it. You have to have these clear labels. Well, that was the part that they all skipped. Like there was one, I started doing really quick research when I saw what was going on. There were some who had like nudity or NSFW or something like that in their stream tags. That wasn't Twitch's requirement. Twitch's requirement was a classification label. They didn't do that. Those are the new things, by the way, that talk about drug use, profanity, mature games. I'm trying to think of all the classification labels. Alcohol, violence, something else. That was Twitch's requirement because that's what prompts the warning. Having a stream tag does not prompt a warning on screen. It's a tag. People can ignore them. So a lot of these people were not following that rule. And clearly and obviously and semi-quickly, Twitch started to ban them. A lot of people have been banned. I was making this point earlier on Discord. There are a lot of Twitch streamers who got caught up in this. They didn't do this according to Twitch's new TOS. And they're like, look, they said I can do it. It's like, no. They said you could do it if you do it this way. You didn't do it this way, so you're fucked. They didn't do it right. So Twitch comes back I'm sure the lawyers were having a field day just going, oh my God, what do? We have just become OnlyFans. Actually, it was more like they just became Fansly. It was more Fansly than OnlyFans because a lot of it was art. There was one stream that I found and I'm not making this up. This was like the number 6 stream when I went into the art category yesterday. It was for every sub, I will add an inch. They were literally drawing a penis longer and longer and longer and longer with every sub. That was not allowed. But it was art. And that's the thing. It was art. Like art is subjective. Now, is there a difference between art and pornographic art? Yes. Culturally, yes. And culturally in almost every culture on the planet, yes. So it's not a matter of, well, you're discriminating against art. No, they do have some standards to uphold because they have to protect against the minors that use their site. They have to protect the people who have asked not to see this content. And if suddenly they just get dropped into a channel like through a raid or whatever, and all of a sudden they go from Fortnite to every sub equals a longer penis, not acceptable. Twitch has every right to guard against that. And if somebody is really interested in the adult content side of art, there's other sites to go to. That's not what Twitch is for. Twitch has never said that's what they're about. So if somebody's like, man, Twitch is discriminating. No, Twitch is living up to what they told you they were. So let's not bullshit about that. So the lawyers get together, the executives get together, some content creators got banned, lots of content creators got suspended. I'm sorry, I'm not using the word banned. They didn't get banned. They got suspended. Even Morgpie got suspended, and I'll bet you she's unsuspended now. But anyways, she did get suspended, by the way. It was like 3 days later from when she started this whole thing, but 3 days later, whatever, she got banned. She got suspended. So all of this, Twitch announces that they have a wave of suspensions and they have reverted their TOS. They have eliminated the artistic nudity thing. There are now no broadcasts again allowed of any sort of nudity in any sexual or non-sexual nature. You can't show areolas. You can't show nipples. You can't show penises. You can't show buttocks. You can't. They went right back to where they were. They're like, yeah, we tried it. It failed. It was a bad idea. Here's my take on it. I think that they need to still clarify. The rules of the past were not clear. The rules of yesterday were not clear. And the rules of today are not clear. The problem is it's hard to do that. It may almost be impossible. Because it's one thing to tell a woman you can't show areolas or nipples on stream. You also can't show side boob. That was literally a thing. You can't show side boob. Why? Like, because men sexualize it, women can't do something? It's a ridiculously sexist policy. Just on its face, it is. I don't know if anybody knows this, but breasts are not required for sex. Penises and vaginas may be. Breasts are not. So you can't say that it's sexual content. If it's just the side of a breast, that's not porn. That's not sexual in nature. That's not nudity. So this is sexist. Okay? And it is very sexist against women. I do give Twitch credit, and we've talked about this on the podcast about, 2-3 months ago. I do give Twitch credit for eliminating or changing, I should say changing. They haven't eliminated it completely, but changing how they work with breastfeeding. They now allow breastfeeding on stream if it is educational in nature, if it, like, they've got certain restrictions on how to do it and what is allowed and not allowed, but breastfeeding is allowed. That's important. That's an important part of life. Banning that was stupid. And I'm glad that they've changed that. They still have a ways to go, but it's evolution. Okay. I think that women get the short end of the stick on Twitch when it comes to Twitch regulations, but Twitch has a lot of things they got to balance to do it. It's not easy, but they do need to fall on the right side of this and allow women to be women. Okay? If the side of a breast is sexual, if somebody is attracted to women, so you're going to say, hey, they will find the side of a breast sexual. Okay, then so is a bicep. So are we going to start banning guys with like sleeveless shirts? Because, I don't know about you, but I think there's a small handful of women on the planet who think that big biceps are attractive. I think there's a handful of women out there who think, or men, either way, it doesn't matter. I think there's a handful of people who find a six-pack attractive on a guy. So are we going to ban those because it gets people excited? No, of course not, because that's a guy. So if somebody can explain the difference to me, I'm all ears. But you can't, because it's bullshit. Because it's a rule written by men to limit women. It's that simple. It's kind of like rules in the Bible. They're always against the women. Strangely, oddly, coincidentally. It's the women who can't do things. It's the women who don't get names. It's the women who are prohibited from leading. It is the Yeah. So Twitch is doing the same bullshit. Men are writing rules because men can't control themselves. Sorry, that's a problem. Right? Yeah. I still see one on my For You. Well, I'm very happy for you. That's like in school. Shoulders are distracting to other students. So no t-shirts, no right? Shoulders are distracting. Long hair is distracting. Colored hair is distracting. Like, we write these ridiculous rules that only apply to women. Make no mistake about it, especially in the Western world when we love to criticize Arab and other Muslim cultures for how women are religiously prescribed to dress. We ain't that far away, folks. The United States specifically is one of the most puritanical countries on the planet. So we love writing rules that limit what women can do because the man can't control himself. I'm missing the fairness in this. So Twitch is back to where they were. No boobs, no butts, no penises, no breasts, no side boob. I can't believe that's a technical term now. Oh, Jesus. Anyways. So that's what's going on. They did reverse it. I want to at least be factual about the statement. Quote, upon reflection, we have decided that we went too far with this change. That was what CEO Dan Clancy wrote in a blog post on Friday. That is today, by the way, the day of the recording. Digital depictions of nudity present a unique challenge. AI can be used to create realistic images, and it can be hard to distinguish between digital art and photography. Let's be very clear, AI wasn't the problem. AI was not the issue. AI was not at the top of the art category for the whole fucking day. It was VTubers and GFX artists drawing gigantic boobs and penises. Usually without AI, by the way. I saw maybe 2 AI streams that were in the top 10 when I was checking on all those research. I suddenly forgot how to speak English. So AI wasn't the issue. Effective Friday, Twitch is rolling back the policy about artistic nudity, according to CEO Dan Clancy. Moving forward, quote, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. So there we go. That is where we're going to leave the PapaJugg Podcast tonight. I will see you back here on Friday. In the meantime, go have yourself a good morning, a good day, a good night, whatever it is for you. And I'll actually be back on Twitch on Monday. See ya.